Alex stood at the edge of Whispering Woods, wearing a bright yellow raincoat that rustled with each nervous shift. Dark curls peeked out from under a red knit cap, and brown eyes gazed at the towering trees ahead. The old hiking boots, handed down from an older cousin, felt suddenly too big, even though they'd fit perfectly at breakfast. In one hand, a canvas collecting bag swung gently, ready for the nature treasures promised by Miss Jen's science assignment. The woods earned their name honestly. Wind moved through the branches overhead, creating sounds that really did seem like whispers. Pine needles carpeted the path, muffling footsteps and adding to the mysterious atmosphere. "Just find 3 different types of leaves," came the said quietly pep talk. "That's all. 3 leaves." The first few steps into the forest felt very big. Sunlight filtered through the canopy, creating patches of gold on the forest floor. A blue jay called from somewhere high above, its voice sharp and clear in the morning air. The path split into 2 directions. The left trail looked wider and brighter, curving gently toward what might be a clearing. The right path appeared narrower, disappearing in the darker shade where the trees grew closer together. After a moment's hesitation, feet turned left toward the sunshine. The collecting bag bumped against one leg with each step, a comforting reminder of the task at hand. 20 minutes passed peacefully. An oak leaf with perfect pointed lobes went into the bag first. Then a smooth oval leaf from a birch tree joined it. The third leaf proved trickier to find. Everything seemed to be either oak or birch in this part of the woods. A rustling in the underbrush made everything freeze. Not the gentle rustle of wind, but the purposeful movement of something alive. Something moving closer. Heart hammering, eyes searched the source of the sound. There, between 2 thick tree trunks, a flash of brown fur. Then antlers appeared, beautiful and branching like the trees themselves. A deer. Not just any deer, but a buck with a full rack of antlers that caught the dappled sunlight. He stood perfectly still, watching with dark liquid eyes that seemed both wild and wise. Neither moved. The moment stretched like taffy, sweet and fragile. The deer's sides expanded with each breath, and his tail flicked once, twice. Then, as suddenly as he'd appeared, the buck turned and bounded away. His white tail flashed like a flag as he disappeared deeper into the woods, leaving only the memory of his presence and the thumping of an excited heart. "Wow," escaped in a breathless whisper. "Just—" The encounter changed everything. The forest no longer felt scary, but magical, full of wonders waiting to be discovered. With renewed energy, the search for the third leaf resumed. Near a small stream that bubbled over mossy rocks, a different kind of tree caught attention. Its leaves were shaped like mittens, with rounded lobes that looked friendly somehow. A maple leaf, perfect for the collection. But reaching the lowest branch required climbing onto a fallen log that bridged the stream. The log looked sturdy enough, thick as a barrel, and worn smooth by weather. Still water gurgled below, dark and cold-looking. One foot tested the log. It held firm. Then the other foot joined it. Arms spread wide for balance, like a tightrope walker at the circus. Halfway across, the log shifted slightly, just enough to send a jolt of fear down to those 2 big boots. "Don't look down," came the said quietly advice. "Just keep going." Step by careful step, the crossing continued. The maple branch hung just within reach now. Fingers stretched, caught the stem, and pulled. The leaf came free with a satisfying snap. Victory! But celebration had to wait until both feet stood safely on solid ground again. The journey back across the log felt easier, confidence replacing fear with each step. With 3 different leaves safely tucked in the collecting bag, it should have been time to head home. But the woods called with a voice made of bird songs and swaying branches. Deeper in, where the right-hand path had led, adventure surely waited. The narrow trail lived up to its promise. Trees pressed close on both sides, their branches forming a tunnel of green. Less sunlight reached the forest floor here, creating a twilight feeling even though the day remained bright above the canopy. Strange fungi grew on fallen logs, orange shells that looked like steps for fairy folk. Moss covered everything in a soft green blanket. The air smelled different here, earthier and more alive somehow. A clearing appeared ahead, unexpected and perfectly circular. In the center stood the most very big tree in the entire forest. Its trunk would take 6 kids holding hands to wrap around it, and its branches started so high up they seemed to brush the clouds. But that wasn't the amazing part. The amazing part was the hole at the base of the trunk, a natural hollow large enough to crawl inside. Dark and mysterious, it looked like a doorway to another world. Alex approached slowly, drawn by curiosity but held back by caution. What might live in such a hole? Squirrels? Raccoons? Something bigger? Kneeling at the entrance, eyes adjusted to the darkness within. The hollow went deeper than expected, carved by time and nature into a perfect hiding spot. Dry leaves lined the floor, and the walls felt smooth under tentative fingers. Then, movement in the shadows. Not threatening movement, but small and quick. A pair of bright eyes appeared, then another, then several more. Baby rabbits. A whole nest of them tucked safe in nature's perfect nursery. Their mother must be out foraging, trusting the ancient tree to protect her babies. Wonder replaced any lingering fear. These tiny creatures, no bigger than tennis balls, lived here in the heart of the woods. Their fur looked impossibly soft, colored in shades of brown and gray that would blend perfectly with the forest floor once they grew bigger. Backing away carefully to avoid disturbing them, a new understanding bloomed. The woods weren't scary at all. They were home to so many creatures, all living their lives among the trees and streams and shadows. The sun had moved considerably across the sky. Time to head back, but which way? The circular clearing confused direction, and all the trees looked frustratingly similar. A moment of panic tried to take hold. Lost in whispering woods. What'd Mom say?
What would Miss Chen think when the assignment came in late because her student got lost collecting leaves?
Think, came the firm self-command. Use what you know. A stream. The sound of water had been constant during the walk to the ancient tree. Following that sound would lead back to the log crossing, and from there the path home would be clear. Listening carefully, ears caught the faint babble of water to the left. Relief flooded through like warm honey. Not lost after all, just temporarily confused. The journey back revealed new wonders. A woodpecker hammered at a dead tree, its red head bright against gray bark. Chipmunks chased each other through the underbrush, chattering like tiny scolding teachers. Even a snake, just a harmless garter snake, slithered across the path, its movements liquid and mesmerizing. By the time familiar landmarks appeared, fear had transformed completely into something else. Confidence, maybe, or belonging. The woods had tested and welcomed in equal measure. But the biggest test waited the stream crossing. The log bridge remained where it should be, but something had changed. Water levels had risen, not dramatically, but enough to notice. Recent rain upstream must have swelled the little stream. The log now sat lower, with water occasionally splashing over its surface. Crossing had been scary enough when the log was dry. Now, with water making it slippery, the task seemed impossible. But going around meant adding at least an hour to the journey, and the sun already hung low in the sky. Alex stood at the bank, weighing options. The collecting bag with its precious leaves hung heavy, a reminder of the successful mission so far.
Giving up now would mean failing right at the finish line.
The deer wasn't afraid, came the thought. He lived here. This is his home. That settled it. If a deer could bound through these woods without fear, one kid could cross a slippery log. It just required care and courage. The first step onto the wet logs and a shock through the two big boots. Slippery, yes, but not impossible. Arms spread wide again, finding balance. The second step came easier, then the third. Halfway across, a foot slipped. For one heart-stopping moment, balance wavered. The stream rushed below, looking deeper and faster than before. But those arms windmilled, the other foot held firm, and equilibrium returned. "You've got this," echoed between the trees. Whether spoken aloud or just thought, the words helped. The rest of the crossing passed in a blur of concentration. Then, solid ground. Safe on the other side, a victory whoop escaped that sent birds fleeing from nearby branches. The main path appeared soon after, wide and welcoming. Other hikers passed by, nodding hello, unaware of the adventures happening just off the beaten track. The parking area came into view as the sun touched the treetops, painting everything gold and orange. Mom waited by the car, reading a book. She looked up with a smile that turned to surprise at the sight of her mud-splattered Explorer. goodness. Looks like you really got into this assignment. Did you find your 3 leaves? The collecting bag opened to reveal not just 3 leaves, but a story with each one. The oak from the sunny path where everything started, the birch from near where the deer appeared, the maple that required crossing the stream twice.
And did you see anything interesting?
Interesting. Where to begin? The deer with his beautiful antlers, the baby rabbits in their tree hollow, the woodpecker and chipmunks and snake, the way sunlight turned the forest floor into nature's stained glass window. I saw everything, came the answer, simple but true. The ride home passed quietly, but it wasn't the silence of fear or boredom. It was the contentment of adventure completed and challenges overcome. Those 2 big boots had walked deeper into the woods than ever before. That yellow raincoat had brushed against ancient trees and new discoveries. Miss Chen would get her 3 leaves for the science assignment. But the real lesson had nothing to do with identifying trees. Whispering Woods had taught something more valuable, that being brave didn't mean feeling no fear. It meant feeling the fear and stepping forward anyway, one careful foot at a time across whatever log bridge life presented. The woods would be there tomorrow and the next day and the day after that, full of whispers and wonders, streams and secrets. And next time, because there would definitely be a next time, those boots wouldn't feel too big at all. They'd feel exactly right for an explorer who learned that the scariest-looking path often led to the most magical places, that ancient trees held nurseries for baby rabbits, that deer could appear like forest spirits, teaching wordless lessons about belonging, that slippery logs could be crossed with patience and determination. Alex gazed out the car window as the last of Whispering Woods disappeared from view. Somewhere in those shadows, the deer was probably bedding down for the night. The baby rabbits were cuddling with their mother. The stream continued its endless conversation with the stones. And one young explorer headed home, muddy and triumphant, carrying 3 leaves and a heart full of newfound courage. The woods had said quietly their secrets to someone brave enough to listen. Tomorrow couldn't come fast enough.